So I'm back to tell you about the latest with me and my dancing. This time is not such good news, but let me get straight into it. Over the last month or so, maybe a little longer, I've been feeling some pain in a part of the body that's a little difficult to describe, but I will try. And it happens when I do développé devant and grand battement devant. And at first, I just continued dancing because sometimes these pains pop up and they go away on their own, they just eventually they seem to work themselves out. But this time the pain hasn't gone away. In fact, I feel like it has increased, and now I sometimes feel it when I'm not dancing, when, say, I'm climbing stairs or doing something else. And so whatever it is, I feel like it's getting a little bit worse. And it is, I don't mean to be suggestive in any way, but like here. So I suspect it's in the upper hip flexor, someplace like that. And I'm prone to hip flexor strains. I have had strains before, so I believe that is what it is. And it kind of sucks. No, it really does suck, because these kinds of strains, in my previous experience, they can take a long time to heal. This time I want to talk a little bit about the injury and how it is affecting my dance training. Injury is a part of any physical activity, any challenging physical activity like dance. And so we have to expect them, because they can arise, and they usually do. And when they do, we need to know how to deal with them physically and mentally. So the first thing I'm noticing is that it's slowing me down, and that is a real unwelcome development. Because, I was just at the point where I was ready to take on some new challenges, and now I may not be able to do that. I am reevaluating whether or not this is the time to start these challenges, because anytime I use these muscles or a movement that could potentially lead to these muscles being used, that's a big no-no for the time being, right? And then my technique in class has to be very carefully modified. My développés are lower, my grand battements are really low. It makes me sad, but it has to be that way for the time being. And then you just have to bring this extra layer of awareness to the bar, to the center, in everything you do, so that you can't so that I don't accidentally injure myself more. Yeah, so that's a part of it. Now, there's another discipline that has to be added into my day-to-day life, and that is treatment, okay? So I have to take the time daily to treat this injury. And that, to tell you the truth, has been the hardest part, really, because I'm not used to it and I forget it all the time. But I can't continue to forget it, because, hey, that's not going to make it better, right? So in terms of treatment right now, it's more about massage, like massaging the area. I have an ointment that I'm using for massage, and hopefully that will help. But it has to be regular, every day, maybe twice a day even, and careful massage and stretching can help with this from previous experience, hoping that it's the same type of situation here. The injury doesn't just affect me physically. It's also a mental challenge in a number of different ways. First of all, it's really hard not knowing how long it will take to heal. It could take weeks, months, even years. You don't really know. It shouldn't take years because it doesn't seem to be an acute or serious injury. But such injuries, even minor ones, can take weeks or months. And just not knowing how long it will take creates a nagging fear, right? That is difficult to deal with. So it's frustrating. It really is. Adult ballet dancers, tell me, have you had this? Have you had this experience where you've gotten an injury, however minor, and then had to dial it back? It's hard, right? And then there's one more challenge I will mention, at least one. And I fear that it's going to lead to me losing confidence in my ability to move, because I was challenging myself physically and in expression, right? Sort of trying to push myself a little bit to the next level. And now I am not able to continue that practice. And I'm wondering if fear will creep in and I will lose the confidence that I was building in my expression and in really using the full range of motion that was available to me, right? I don't want that to happen. And I fear that that will be a result. As I deal with these issues, I've had to change my perspective a bit so that I can remain optimistic and continue working. And right now, I'm just trying to remember that, hey, I have a whole body, from head to toe and everything in between. Just shift my focus away from the area that's injured and remember there are so many other areas to train. There are so many other areas that I'm already training. And so, okay, my groin is taking a little break, but that's okay. That's okay because the rest of my body is still working. It's still working and I'm still working it. So just shifting my focus. And it just goes back to this understanding that progress in ballet is not a linear. It doesn't continue in a straight line all the time. Sometimes it dips and then it comes back up again. And then it may dip a little bit. Or sometimes it may tank a little bit. But then it will come back up again. It's not like just one straight line. And again, it's another area where I have to remember to accept this is part of the ballet process. Yeah, it's part of the adult ballet dancer journey in many cases. I guess my biggest observation from this injury so far is that the injury isn't just physical. It affects my entire practice. And it does really take quite a lot of consistent effort and patience and self-restraint in order to handle it. And I'm realizing that healing an injury is actually like its own discipline. It's a discipline in and of itself, right? And so it sort of expanded the scope of my practice right now. I guess you could say I'm coming to terms with that. I'm trying to see this injury as an opportunity for growth and to take something positive away from the misfortune of it. I don't know if it's possible. You could let me know what you think. Have you ever learned something valuable or grown from an injury in some way? Share your stories below. They will encourage me and maybe encourage somebody else as well who is going through this. So yeah, I thank you for listening to my sad story this time. And I'll be back again sometime soon, hopefully with some good news to share. And until then, take good care of yourself. Bye-bye for now.